You are born into an ancient human camp, and before you can walk, your greatest danger may be the world around you, not another person, cold nights, infected wounds, a body that is still too small to survive hunger. This was not because ancient people were stupid or cruel. It was survival inside a dangerous environment with no antibiotics, no hospitals, and no guaranteed meal. For many people before civilization, childhood was the hardest test of all. And winter was not uncomfortable. Winter was a death machine. By the end of this video, you will understand why there is no single honest age when most ancient humans died, why average life expectancy can be deeply misleading, and why reaching adulthood was itself an extraordinary achievement. The common assumption is that everyone in the past dropped dead at 30. That is not quite true. Many died young, but some lived far beyond it. Picture a small group beside a fire during the Ice Age, perhaps 20,000 years ago. Wind pushes through animal skin shelters. Food must be found almost every day, and a single injury can change everything. For a mobile hunter-gatherer group, survival was not a lifestyle. It was a daily calculation. Researchers studying hunter-gatherer mortality found that life expectancy at birth was often low, largely because infant and child death was so common. At first, people saw a low average age and assumed that ancient adults usually died in their 20s or 30s. Then they realized an average is not a deadline. If many babies and children die early, the average falls sharply. Even when adults who survive childhood can live much longer, a major 2007 study by anthropologists Michael Gurven and Hillard Kaplan found that hunter-gatherers who reached age 15 could often expect decades more life, with substantial numbers surviving into their 50s, 60s, and beyond. That does not mean old age was easy. It means the number 30 hides a much harsher story. And the next danger was waiting inside the body itself. Archaeologists found skeletons marked by broken bones, worn joints, damaged teeth, and signs of disease. At first, these remains seemed like proof that prehistoric life was simply short and brutal for everyone. Then researchers realized some injuries had healed. A healed fracture means someone survived long enough for bone to knit together. That may mean companions carried food, shared warmth, protected an injured person, or took over tasks they could no longer do. At Shanidar Cave in present-day Iraqi Kurdistan, Neanderthal remains include individuals with serious injuries and long-term impairments who lived for years afterward. Researchers still debate every detail of their care, but survival with such conditions strongly suggests social support. In a world without hospitals, your group could become your medicine, but care could not defeat every threat. Researchers also examine teeth, because teeth preserve clues about stress, diet, and age. At first, it might seem that sharp stone tools and dangerous animals were the main killers. Years then they realized that ordinary problems could become lethal. A tooth infection, fever, childbirth complication, contaminated water, parasite, or a cut that became infected could be devastating. Before modern medicine, even a minor illness could turn from painful to fatal. And food shortages made every illness worse. Your body needs energy to fight infection. When the hunt fails, the body has less to spend. Then comes the problem archaeologists cannot fully solve. The dead do not represent the living perfectly. At first, a cemetery or cave assemblage may look like a simple record of who died at what age. Then researchers realized preservation creates bias. Children's small, fragile bones often preserve poorly. Some people died far from camps and were never buried where archaeologists could find them. And estimating age from adult skeletons becomes less precise as people get older. So when someone says, ancient humans only lived to 30, ask a simple question: which ancient humans? Where? During which period? And based on what evidence? Imagine losing a child during a hungry season. Imagine watching a parent weaken from an injury that would be treatable today. Imagine knowing tomorrow's meal might depend on whether the group succeeds together. How would you measure a life in a world like that? Yet, archaeology also reveals something powerful. At sites across prehistoric Eurasia, burials, healed injuries, shared hearths, and carefully made tools show that early humans were not merely isolated survivors. They formed groups, they taught skills, they protected knowledge. At Sunghir in Russia, people buried two children around 34,000 years ago with thousands of ivory beads and other grave goods, showing remarkable labor and care. We cannot know every detail of what happened, but the science underneath is solid. Cooperation was humanity's greatest weapon. Your brain still seeks safety in a group when danger feels close. Your body still reacts to cold, hunger, pain, and uncertainty with ancient urgency. Honestly, I think this is what makes the story so human. Ancient people did not all die at one age. Many never reached adulthood. Some endured long enough to become parents, healers, teachers, and elders. Before civilization, surviving another winter was never promised. It was earned together.